we do have Republican Florida Congressman and gubernatorial candidate Byron Donalds. Congressman Donalds, thank you so much for staying up late with us and joining us to give us your reaction to the address. We really appreciate it.
It's good to be with you. And look, it was a great speech. Ended a little late, so I'm still here, still with you.
Well, really appreciate that. Let me just get your reaction to what we heard tonight. I thought there were two notable moments. One, on the economy, where President Trump did acknowledge that there's going to be an adjustment period, given the fact that he has now imposed these tariffs against Mexico, against Canada, against China. What did you make of that? And are you concerned, as a Republican who's, running for governor, you're going to have to defend these policies? Did that give you any concern?
No, I'm not really concerned at all, and here's why. We have to stop the rush of fentanyl into our country. That seriously matters to any American who's lost a loved one to fentanyl. It's the #1 killer between the ages of 18 and 45 in our country. Number two, we do need the Mexican government and the Canadian government to help us in our mission to fully secure both of our borders. And so those talks have been ongoing. Obviously, they've not met the conditions that are satisfactory to President Trump, and he's taking the other corrective actions he thinks are necessary. I would argue the costs to our country from massive illegal immigration and massive trafficking of fentanyl has been disastrous for Americans. So if there's an adjustment period so we can get that under control, that is far better than what has been the status quo over the last 4 years.
It took him about 20 minutes to start talking about the economy heading into this speech. A majority of Americans said they actually want him to be more focused on lowering prices. He has signed a record number of executive orders in these past 6 weeks. But on that point about the economy, Congressman, what say you to anyone who would listen to this speech and say they wanted more of a focus on the economy, on what his actual plan was to bring prices down, which has not happened yet?
Well, look, a couple of things. One, if you have a hustling and growing economy, that helps you. That's why the Trump tax cuts being reauthorized. And then the things that he talked about on the campaign trail, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, Social Security, those help working families. They help seniors on fixed incomes. That's number one. Number two, energy dominance actually gives you the ability to stabilize prices because energy is a component cost of everything that the American people buy. So that stuff helps to control prices. Number three, and most importantly, if you're going to really get a hold of inflation, that also is on Capitol Hill. Members of Congress have to get spending under control. The flagrant spending the last 4 years was the catalyst to this massive inflation that's hurt every family in our country. So it's not just the president. Congress has a responsibility to cut spending. Working with the DOJ and getting other spending items under control will help to abate this inflation, which will stabilize prices for the American people.
When you say the no tax on tips and the, frankly, slate of other taxes that President Trump campaigned on, those are not necessarily a part of the budget bill at this point in time. Do you anticipate that they will make their way into the budget bill, and should they be offset?
They will be a part of the overall budget reconciliation bill. And I will tell you, those new tax items, yes, we're going to have offsets for those. But the bulk of tax policy, which, by the way, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and Joe Biden did not change when they were in control. They kept that tax policy in place. It's been the best tax policies for the United States. We've brought in record revenue into the federal government under current tax policy. So when you reauthorize current law, it is the opinion of many on Capitol Hill, myself included, that keeping tax policy the same does not cost you money, especially considering the fact that when the Tax Cut and Jobs Act were originally passed, the federal government raised $2 trillion more in revenue than the Congressional Budget Office said that we would.
Congressman, worth noting that $8 trillion were added to the deficit after the first Trump administration because of his economic policy, including those tariffs, by the way, which were imposed. Let me ask you, though, I want to get your reaction to Congressman Al Green, that extraordinary moment. We looked through our files. We don't think that a member has ever been removed in the middle of a joint address or a State of the Union before. What was your reaction as that was unfolding in real time?
Well, two things. First, let me push back. The $8 trillion in spending, the vast majority of that was responding to the pandemic of COVID-19. So if we're going to talk about tax policy and deficits and debt, let's be honest about why that spending occurred. It occurred because we were having to respond to COVID and the entire world's economy was shut down. And President Trump, working with Congress, both parties, injected stimulus to help the American people get through the pandemic. Now to Al Green. Look, Al Green didn't even let the president get through the first 10 minutes of his speech. Actually, he didn't let him get through the first 2 minutes of the speech. You cannot have constant disruptions. I didn't want to see Al Green go, but the Speaker of the House made the call that you cannot have members interrupting our guest, the President of the United States. If it was Vladimir Zelensky, if it was Benjamin Netanyahu or any other world leader, the Speaker of the House wouldn't tolerate that from any member. They shouldn't tolerate it from a President of the United States, no matter the party that they are from.
Congressman Byron Donalds, thank you so much for staying late with us. We really appreciate your joining us, appreciate your perspective.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.